Okay, I just wanted to take a look at a situation you may run across. We are used to solving equations when we have equations in the form of something like this. Y equals 3x plus 4. In which case, what we end up doing is we end up starting at 4 on the y-axis, and then since we can write 3 as 3 over 1, we end up going over 1 and up 3 for the next point, and then we draw our line. So we know about starting points and we know about rates of change or slopes. But when we're in this form, we don't have the equation in a form that we can pull that information right off of. So my suggestion would be to do one of two things. One, either make a table, in which case you would put in some values of x, and then using those values of x, figure out what the corresponding values of y would be. So for instance, this equation when x is 1 would read 2 times 1 plus 3 times the y that we don't know yet equals 24. 2 plus 3y equals 24. Subtract 2 from both sides, and we see that 3y is going to have to equal 22. Well, real quickly we see that by dividing both sides by 3, we see that y has to equal, these cancel out, y has to equal 7 1/3. So 7 1/3 would be the corresponding y value. We would do the same thing for the next x value that we chose. So we would take, let's get rid of all this here, we would take 4 and put it in for x. So we would write 2 times 4 plus 3y equals 24. So we have 8 plus 3y equals 24. Subtract 8 from both sides and you'll get 3y equals 16, or y is going to be equal to 16/3, which is going to be 5 1/3. So there we have points that we can plot. You may be able to come up with different numbers that make it cleaner. So that's the first method. The second method is to use the rules of algebra to move the equation around a little bit. So I can do anything I want to an equation so long as I do it to both sides. First thing I'm going to do is I am going to subtract 2x from both sides, in which case I am left with 3y equals negative 2x, and I'm going to put it in this form on purpose. Then I'm going to divide everything by 3, and you're going to see now I have y equals negative 2/3 x plus 8. Now this is in a form that I can graph easily. So either make a table and graph the points, or put it in this form and you start at 8, and this tells me to go down 2 because it's negative 2. I'm gonna think of this as being negative 2 over 3, and then over 3, put my point and draw my line. So if you get an equation in this form, do one of two things. Either make that table and plot the points, or rearrange the equation and put it in a form that you're more used to.